I'm bringing a blender.
Yeah, just like, sorry, got to get the gains, guys.
Oh, I'm sorry. You guys could hear that?
Nutrient timing.
Sorry,
right.
I'm walked around. I gotta get this in.
Oh, shoot, I might as well share my screen while I record this, huh? All right. Can you guys see the presentation? We're good? Okay, awesome. So there's going to be some participation in this one as well, guys. So just keep your mics open if you can. If there's noise in the background, just unmute yourself if I call on you or you want to answer. But today we're going to talk about a few things. The vast majority of this one is going to be on variety for clients. It's one of those things that clients ask for all the time. And it's something that's going to add value for the clients, but we want to do it in a smart way. Because sometimes with the programming and stuff, it gets just a little bit out of control with the client's ability level. So these are going to be some easy ways to add variety that makes sense. So we'll get into that. But today we're going to talk about some PT items right away. We're going to address those kind of on the management side. And then we're going to go into why variety doesn't need to be like a time zapper when it comes to programming. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some base movements that you'd probably see in your programming and then give you guys some variety there. And then we'll also go into the application of this. How do we go about applying this for our clients right away? So the first thing I'm going to talk to you guys about is Club Ready Cleanup. So as I traveled around the clubs and looked at schedules and stuff, I noticed that a lot of the sessions, some clubs are worse than others, but there's a lot of dollar signs showing up next to the member. That's not a good thing. The dollar sign is actually a bad thing, so we want to make sure we clean that up and see why that's happening. So there's a new rule that we're going to implement. So trainers, what you're going to do is if you see the dollar sign next to one of your clients, you're going to report it on that manual render sheet. That way the MXM can look into it and see what's going on and clear it up. What happens is when there's a dollar sign, the settings are set for, I talked to Shannon about this, and the settings are set for if there's a dollar sign there, that means they're either going to be past due or delinquent, and they're probably not going to be able to render their session. So if you can't render the session, what happens is you're not going to get paid because it doesn't convert over the payroll. So we got to make sure they're getting cleared up and the MXM's looking into it. Some of them can render just based on where they're at with their payments and everything, so it could be another issue. But either way, we want to clean those up. So moving forward, make sure if you see the dollar sign, put it on that manual render sheet. That way they can clear it up. The MXM and Shannon will work together to make it look better. So by next month, I should see a lot more clear calendars up there. Any questions on that? Makes sense, right? Cool. All right, team training involvement. This is another thing that we just kind of noticed across the board. We just want to discuss real quick. Most of your clients do have this free package, but the usage is super low. And a lot of these clients sometimes are training exactly when team training is, but they're not utilizing it when they're not training with you. So we're going to want to start addressing that and getting that involved in the team training. And it honestly falls back to us, the trainer. When we're looking at the training side of things, you guys are their direction, okay? What happens is if we don't express the importance of attending these sessions, they're not going to do it. So it's going to come from you guys to make sure they get in there, because if you don't tell them to get in there, they're not going to. They're just going to say, they're going to think it's like a nice option to have, and they're not going to utilize it. So one thing to kind of look at is if they're not training with you 3 times a week, and they're normally training during those team training hours, why aren't they in there? You guys have any answers to that? Like, what are your clients saying to you? I want to get some feedback on this. Any answers?
They don't
Got to have some answers.
They have kids.
Okay, so if they're, so my question was, is if they're training at 5 or 6 p.m. normally, twice a week with you, on that 3rd session, why aren't they able to come in for team training?
Exactly.
For me,
So is
I
any-
have clients that live out of town.
Okay.
About a half-hour drive in, so they're not in there as frequently as I would like when we're not meeting.
Okay. So kind of look at your client's schedule. If they're coming in the evenings like that, see if we can get them in there, because it's going to lead to better results for you guys too and them. Because what's happening is what we see on the back end is just that we got a lot of clients that train at that time, but they're not involved in team training. So we're just trying to figure out why is that happening? How can we address that? So just talking to some of the MXMs and stuff, there's some really good feedback that you guys could use to maybe try to get them in there. One Alex uses in Oregon when he talks to people is, wouldn't you want to see me 3 times a week? The answer to them is obviously going to be yes. They're going to want to see their trainer 3 times a week. But if they can only afford twice a week, it's another way to get in front of a professional and utilize it. So that's a great answer that Alex had when it comes to addressing your clients and working with them and getting them into there. The other side of it's obviously going to be better results. You know damn well that their workouts on their own aren't going to be close to what they can do with you. So we just want to get better results, faster results, and that's a way of doing it. It's going to make your job a hell of a lot easier. Think of it, it's going to be less programming for you. If you're working with them twice a week, that third day of the week, they're going to team training. You really only need a couple workouts for them to do in case they miss a team training session. So that's going to be less stress on you overall as well. So everyone wins if we can get them in team training. So let's try this next month, try to get them more involved in this kind of stuff. We got another thing coming up called Motivational May. That's going to be May 5th, 12th, 19th, which is the Saturdays of May. And this is a great thing that you and your clients can do. It's going to be free workouts for members and non-members. So make sure you bring a friend. You might just be a new client as well. So we know that other people convert when they attend these things in the training because they do have a great experience, or even team training for that matter. So do your best to have your clients do this. Once again, it's another opportunity to work with in front of a professional in that small group setting and get a great workout in. We're going to try to do it outside, but if the weather is bad, we'll go inside the studios for this kind of stuff. They got to pre-register at the club if you can. So that way everyone can prepare by numbers and everything. So try to get your clients to do it. What I always say is prescribe it, don't recommend, right? Tell them you're the professional, say, hey, you got to do this. Just make it part of the program for May. Get them outside, do some fun stuff. They can pre-register at the club with their friend, and that way they can go right into those workouts and they're fully prepared for it. So any questions on Motivational May? Okay, I just want to make sure you guys are aware of that because that's coming up. One other rule we're looking at club-wide. So this wasn't a meeting for MXM and club managers. We're going to introduce it to you guys as well. It's the 15x5 rule. We're doing it club-wide because when you think of Anytime Fitness, people outside of the staff, everyone is viewed as Anytime Fitness, regardless of your position in the facility or ownership or anything. If they see a staff member, they're Anytime Fitness. So if they have a poor experience with Anytime Fitness, they say Anytime Fitness sucks, just not Anytime Fitness, Stoughton. So we want to make sure they're having a great experience when they come in. So the 15x5 rule, what we're looking at is we want to be more involved with our members and a little more friendly. A lot of times sometimes we just walk by and we're so in the zone, focused on what we're doing. We don't think about the perception that other members getting. Also remember, these are probably future clients of yours. Honestly, back when I was training, I got so many clients just because I was open to people. And the more involved they get with you, even if you're an MXM, you sell a lot more training doing that too, because now they're more comfortable with you. There's a bigger trust factor there when they are talking to you about finally diving into training. So that's a great way to build that rapport, whether it's a future client or future sale for PT membership. But looking at this, the 15x5 rule is if you're 15 away, give them a smile or a head nod. If you're 5 feet away, it's a verbal hello or howdy. Okay, so that's the 15x5 rule. So just try to keep that in mind as you guys are walking around the clubs. Just kind of be self-aware in how you feel like you're presenting yourself when you're walking. My go-to, it's a little awkward. I got to work on it because I do that half smile, right? So this is me. This is what I do when I'm going around the clubs. I could get it better with this, okay? So that is totally true. Yeah, John's totally laughing because he knows it's true. It's what I do. So I got to work on that. So even myself, I got to work on it. So that's the 15x5 rule. Try to implement that, guys. It's going to help you guys a lot.
He calls it like a lizard.
We're looking at success stories, okay? We want to hear and show off your hard work. We've done this in the past. We're looking to build new posters. So with the success stories, it could be a before and after success story. So like a before photo, after photo, a little bio on that. Or it could be even like a mobility or a strength kind of thing. A lot of ways we can get these success stories within the clubs. Just not all about fat loss all the time. So it should have like a major impact on their life in some way or another. Okay, if you guys got to have a great story of a client, please email me this and then we can get them up on the board for motivation. Okay, if you got any questions, feel free to email me on this as well. But we're looking to get this in. I'm sure you guys have plenty of stories out there when it comes to success stories from your clients. So let's dive in more into the training stuff now. We're going to talk about value of variety. When we're talking about this, we want to talk about adding variety during the session to make it more fun and different. Not so much outside, because we know they're pretty limited of what they can and can't do outside that session. So we're going to talk about during the session what's going to make it fun and easy to implement, okay? So to us, if they're doing a push-up in a different way, to us it's kind of still a push-up. But to the client, it's something totally new to them. You could literally implement one little thing to the push-up, and it's a totally new exercise for them, and it gets away from that boredom of just doing a standard push-up. This honestly, like seriously blows them away, just taking like a BOSU ball and doing the same movement with it, okay? Yeah, there's a little bit more stability kind of stuff going on there, but it's totally different to them. So little things like that go a long way. It's going to save you a lot of time from writing new workouts. A lot of mistakes trainers make is they paralyze themselves because they want to program so intensely. And you got to fall back and kind of think about the clients you're working with. They're not like these elite athletes. We just got to get their butts moving. So we got to get them doing the base movements of the Super 6, get really good at that. That's the stuff they can practice and do on their own. But then we add the variety of those movements when we work with them, because you're there to make sure they're doing it safely and appropriately. And it's more fun with you. It's going to add more value when you do it with them. So what we're talking about here is movements that require the trainer and adds value to you during that session. So when we do that, this is going to do anything they can't do on their own. So a lot of these things they go over, they will need you to be there, okay? It's going to make it more challenging and more fun, but that value for you goes way up, okay? This is going to reteach your retention of your clients as well. Remember, that's the number one factor as a trainer is your retention. Think of yourself as an individual business. If you were on your own and you kept losing clients, you'd be out of business. So same thing here, a great trainer is able to keep their clients. This is a high value to them because they know they need you for this kind of stuff and it's more fun, okay? So what that means, if you have more value to the company, well, guess what? That means more money for you, right? So like I said, these things are quick and easy. So you can even do this within team training. So if you're a team training coach, this is an easy way to implement progression regressions within a movement and just add variety to the plans that you're coming up with. We don't want to overcomplicate this, so you could easily just use a band, manual resistance, suspension, med ball, different types of equipment, just to add a little bit of variety, and it goes a long way. Okay, so you want to keep the integrity of the movement. So the goal of this is coaching on keeping that integrity of the Super 6 that they're trying to do on their own, but then adding just a little bit of variety. Okay, so we don't want to go completely away from that movement. So if you look at this picture here, it's a wide variety of movements, but we could literally do a bilateral squat on every single one of these pieces here, just for adding variety. So in literally 2 seconds, you could totally change the movement just by the piece of equipment you're using. So ways you can add variety. One option is the angle of the movement. Okay, so let's say they're doing a push-up. You could literally just change the hand position of where they're pushing from to give that some variety. There's randomization drills. So there's drills that I like to use before was Simon Says kind of drills, where let's say they're doing some lateral shuffles. You, the trainer, you have to call out what direction they're going, and it's kind of Simon Says kind of game, okay? You're still doing the lateral shuffles like you would in your programming, but now you're adding some different variety to it. You can use band instead of cable. So there's a lot of movements that you use the cables for. You could exactly do the same thing with a band. Totally changes the movement for the client. Same thing to you, but totally different for the client. Time versus reps. So a lot of times trainers just get caught up in counting reps all the time. Use time. It's a great way to change the aspect of the workout for the client and build intensity as well. So instead of saying 12 reps, say go for 30 seconds instead. Manual resistance, this is probably one of my favorites. I know some of the MXMs, this is their go-to, especially in WOW workouts. I know Alex Puckhover over in Oregon is a master of manual resistance. I think he sells more on WOW workouts than anybody. So he's got a great system there when he uses manual resistance. So if you got questions on manual resistance, feel free to use Alex as a resource. I think he's got an arsenal of movements. So, but good shout out there for Alex because he deserves it with this kind of stuff. But either way, instead of dumbbells, you're using yourself as resistance. And this goes a long way because you are part of the exercise. That is a huge variety factor to them. And it's another factor that they need you. They can't do this on their own. You can also implement intensity elements. So for example, instead of just doing your standard 4x8, well, you can use drop sets at the end. Use different intensity factors to get this job done and add some variety. So these next examples, what we're gonna do is the base program. What that I mean by that is it's what you have in your program that they're doing on their own and that you're gonna give them, okay? The mod is what you're supposed to do during the session. So we're gonna go through each one of these movements, and then I'm gonna get your feedback as well. So you might wanna unmute yourselves because I might call on you to see what you would do or if you got some ideas. Except for you guys back there. Yeah. All right. So looking at this, these are gonna be options you guys can use right away in your programming, and also start building a library for yourself when your guys are working in this. So you guys can put this into your programming right away. I'm going to get your feedback, like I said, to some of your go-tos. So maybe you guys have some really good ideas you could share with the team that you guys like to use. So the first one, we're going to do push examples. So I demoed some of these. Kyle Broad in these videos here is acting like the trainer. So you're going to hear him giving feedback. On some of these, he was messing with me. So you're going to see some fun he's trying to have with me on some movements, trying to make me mess up. But that's the kind of fun you got to have. But base program is going to be the push-up for the first one here. First one is I'm literally just using a band to change the movement. So I'm just wrapping the band around my shoulders there. And the resistance comes from the back. And to a client, to you guys, that seems pretty basic, right? But to a client, that's totally different and adds another intensity factor to it. Another great one that you can do is manual resistance, kind of like what we talked about. So on this one, I'm doing the push-up, but Kyle is giving instructions and pushing on my back to cause resistance instead of the band. Okay, so what do you guys have for push-ups? Give me one or two other factors you guys like to use that add variety right away in a movement like that.
Incline or a decline?
Decline.
Okay, so add angles. Okay, yep, awesome. Then give me one more.
I got another good one.
Plate on their back.
Plate on back? Awesome. Yeah, someone said he's got a good one. What was that?
Yeah, I got a good one where I actually put a band up right above their chest and allow them to go down in a slow movement and then help them on the way up. So it's an eccentric push-up. So like it can't do an actual push-up on the feet. It will be able to once I give them assistance on the concentric phase when I actually pull up.
Oh, that's great. That's a great assistant push-up.
Depending on how advanced they are, you can use those sliders.
Oh yeah, sliders are great. Yep, and that gives you that variety of angle. That's awesome. Good job, guys. I love it. So let's look at chest press. Very common movement that you could probably give on their own. But during the session, let's make it a little bit more fun. So this is Kyle on the first one, giving me some manual resistance negatives here. So come up my way up, and then I'm trying to push back as he pushes down on me, as I'm doing a glute bridge. Yeah, so that's a good one. You can add another one. To change like a kind of a chest press movement would be instead of doing the cables, maybe use a band and the trainer's the anchor. So in this movement, Kyle's being the anchor of the movement. Now I'm using the bands to do the press movement. Any other variety options that you guys have you'd like to share with the team when it comes to a chest press movement? Any good ones out there?
That one that you're doing with the glute bridge, a lot of times I'll put somebody with their back wedging a ball up against the wall, so they have the stability element of it. You can kind of change the rate of how you're resisting them too, so it's not just like bilateral.
So are you using a stability ball? Is that what you said, TJ?
Yeah, so they're upright with the ball like up against the wall.
Oh, okay. Oh, and you're doing that manual resistance? Excellent. Yep, I love that. That's great. All right, so let's do some pull movements here. Base program, you might put in a cable row. Here's what you can do with the client. So Kyle, once again, is going to be my anchor point. And I'm doing the rows with the band there. And then the other one is a manual resistance one. So now we're going to do a single arm row. Kyle's pulling as I'm trying to pull in. You guys have any good ideas on a cable row movement?
I like Alex's bro rows where he lays on the floor and has people row him.
Oh, yep. His twin brother brought that one up too as we're filming. So his twin brother was doing the shooting here, and that's definitely a puck cover drill for sure. In fact, later I got a puck hover specialty coming up. So, all right. So next one we're gonna do instead of assisted pull-ups, vertical pulls are probably one of the hardest ones to get variety with. Okay. So the one you could do is just with a band from the floor, getting that vertical pull from the floor, especially when you're in like a small group setting. That's a tough one to implement sometimes. That's a good one to do because you can do it anywhere. The other one is going to be a random grip game. So basically what the drill of this is the trainer is going to call up randomly different grips within the assisted pull-up. Okay, so it just adds a lot more variety and fun to it. Side note, I screwed up my left and right on the first one, so you can feel free to laugh at me. So you can hear Kyle calling out here. And he's saying wide, under. You can change the grip to neutral if you want. Just doing a bunch of different variety of grips as they pull up. That's a lot more fun. Guys, get any good ideas for any kind of pull action when it comes to vertical? Because that's a tough one. So if you guys got another one, that'd be great.
Something that you can do is for a squat rack, take like one of those really thick bands and then attach it to the squat rack that has like the pull-ups.
Oh, sure. Yep. And that's your anchor point you're pulling down?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Zach. Yeah, I like that one too.
Doing regular pull-ups, you can put your knee, the trainer's knee up on a like plyo box, and then have them grab a hold and put one leg on your leg and just use you as they need it. So as they get harder and harder, they'll.
Oh no! Okay, use their legs as assistants. Okay, that's cool because the trainer is directly involved with the action. So that's great.
There's one you could do is like put your neck and back supported on a Bosu ball, like in a glute bridge, and then do a lat pull down with either TRX straps or resistance bands.
Oh, okay. So you're on a almost like, I wouldn't say above them, but yeah, you're the anchor point like above them there, their head. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So they're in a glute bridge, right? And then their hands over their head, and they have either TRX straps, and you would be on the other anchor point, and then you'd be the resistance.
Okay, awesome, cool, great guys. So core interior base program, you might have them do a stability ball front plank. So this is one of Kyle's go-tos. So I put this in here for him. He does the stability ball plank, but he's doing taps. So it just adds that trainer-client relationship where it's an easy, fun thing you can do to do together. So that's a good one. Another one you could do is the suspension front plank. I call them shakes. So what they got to do is move their hands on different positions all over. Just short little movements like that cause a ton of stress to the core just a little bit more. So you can, as they get more advanced, you can have them move their hands out farther and farther. But this one I just implemented for like a beginner. It's kind of like really short, small movements with the core there. And then that way it builds that intensity up a little bit in variety. Another one for like a plank version like that.
You could do it on like the T-Rex arms. Bands. You can do it on like those hanging bands from the ceilings, the T-Rex arms.
Yeah, and then like put your feet in it or something. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yep, add some variety there. Maybe you guys have one that maybe the trainer's involved with. You guys have any ideas on that one maybe that you guys like to use or share? Puck-Ov, the master of it. You got one?
I had to step out. Somebody had a question. What was that?
Oh, I asked, you're like the master of the, we're looking for a plank version like this that you got the trainer involved more. Kind of like what we did with Kyle there. You got one in your arsenal there?
If you take just a regular front bridge like that, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just push into the side of them, you know, like either by the hip or like by where the armpit is, you know, if I just walk around them that way, you can push from different angles.
Sure. Poke the animal game. Yeah. That's a good one. Oh, I like it.
A lot of times for this one in that plank position, like, cause it's really hard for people to get extended all the way, right? So I'll put a band underneath or like, just like instead with the push-up, and I'll actually assist them. So then they can extend all the way out. Even with like a wheel rollout, if they can't do that, I'll assist them with the band that's around their chest. I'm above them, pulling. It works really, really well. So like they can actually come out all the way into like a plank rollout.
Wow, you know, so they can get full extension of that? Cool.
Get full extension because you're right there.
Come in a little bit, Alex. We're losing you.
Oh yeah. So you have like a band around their chest, and you're right above them, directly above them, so they can do a full rollout with either a stability ball or a wheel rollout or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's great. Love it. Keep the feedback, guys. These are great ones we can add in. So, med ball crunch, kind of a standard thing someone might put in a program. So the first one here is going to be a random reach crunch. So Kyle's the trainer. He's just randomly going to be putting his hand in different areas. I got to reach and touch. So you're still doing crunches, but you're just adding a little bit more variety to it. One of my favorites, this is one of Kyle's favorites too, is Med Ball Factory. It's got a cool name, and it's a lot of fun. So what's happening is you got the med ball in the feet here. I'm going to come up and crunch, and then I'm going to bring it behind my head and throw it to Kyle. And then we're going to just keep moving like a factory. So you're going to hear Kyle coaching me here. I thought it'd be a little bit louder, but you get the idea. So that's one of our favorites too. That's a great one you guys can add in. One or two that you guys would like to add. Matt, what do you got, buddy? Give me one. Yeah.
I'll put people on like the decline bench with the feet support, like the sit up, and I'll like wrap a band around their chest and let them go up easy and then pull down hard.
Oh, okay. What do you call that one? Whiplash, or what do you call it?
Yeah, I put it right around their forehead.
No, I like it. That's cool. Let's get one more. How about Aaron Williams? You got a roll tide crunch, maybe? Got one of them? You're on mute. There you go.
Yeah, no, I have background noise. For a crunch, there's a lot of different ones with just reaching the ball straight up in the air, and then you can push it forward or backwards, so they have to engage their core more.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Awesome.
Or around the world, so they lift their legs up almost like a Russian twist style, and you toss it, and you go wherever you have your hands, they have to touch the ball, so they're reaching every direction around the world.
Okay, cool. Great. All right, so we got some core lateral examples here. So base program might be like a modified side plank that I'm showing here. This one, Kyle's got the band, and he's just flipping me back and forth as I try to stabilize. This one's a lot of fun. He gets to a point where he really tries pulling me hard here. So, but
Could you do it on your feet, Chad?
no, not that one. Too difficult. So, and then another one would be another modified plank, but now we're doing random flips for the client. So what Kyle's doing is just reaching up. Now I'm going to try to touch wherever he goes. So behind, underneath, all over. Just add some more variety to it.
Random touch is not something inappropriate thing.
All right. So what do you guys think is another one? Drew, what do you got? Got any modifieds for a side plank, Drew? You're on. Drew, you there? Oh, you can't. Oh, your mic's not working? Gotcha, buddy. Don't worry about it. I forgot about that. Your mic's broke. All right. Someone else.
It's more of an advanced movement, but you throw like a lateral raise in while they're doing side plank.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's an easy variety, right? And then give me one with trainer now involvement. Anybody got one?
If you have them doing a side plank, put their arms up in the air, you can almost do like a high five with them and then just adjust your hand to pressure, whether you push or pull instead of a band.
Okay, so kind of like constant pressure. Yep. Okay, cool. That's kind of like the band, but now you're doing it with the hand. Awesome. All right, another one might be a Russian twist as the base. The one I'm showing here is going to be a different version of it. So this is like a pyramid, what you're doing. So what's happening is you're doing 1 tap, 2 tap, and 3 tap, and you keep counting up until they're done with a throw. So that's what you guys can do together. Another one, this is the puck hopper special. So I don't recommend doing this on your day one with your client because you're getting a little close and involved with your client here. So this is down the road for sure. But this is the one that Mark does. I like it a lot. It's definitely some variety here and trainer involvement, obviously. So what happens is you're on a bench, sitting down. I put my legs around his legs there, and he like anchors me with his. And then what's going to happen is I'm doing that same kind of drill, but now I'm using my hands to do that pyramid there. So they call it a function straddle. All right, so any other ones you guys got? Or maybe Russian twist variety? How about Ethan? What do you got, buddy? You got anything in your arsenal there you can share?
Not for Russian twist, no. Not that I can think of.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
I like. Oh, go ahead. Whoever's got.
For Russian twist, a lot of people will just turn their torso. They will not use their eyes to focus on where their hands go. So if you say eyes with their hands, it'll force them to actually rotate their torso more so you can actually get more of your core involved. Versus just touching on the side, it's not as efficient.
Sure, great.
I like to use the little like stackable plastic things that make like benches. I'll have them take like a stack on one side and move them all over the other side.
Oh, that's a good idea. I love that one. Call them the Russian builders, right? Build that house. All right.
I try not to patent any of my workouts.
What's that?
I try not to patent any of my workouts.
All right.
Yeah. Are you going to upload all these to our Google workouts? Then we can just put them on our workouts then?
Yeah, that would be sure. That would be a good idea. It'll take some time, but definitely could do that.
And then you can collect some royalties from the app.
Right. I'll have this up on YouTube. So if you guys want to look back at the webinar, I'll get the link up and share it with you guys. So, all right, let's look at knee dominant. So on this one, the video got kind of screwed up when I was cropping it. So it's good. Some of these look kind of weird, but you get the idea. With the base program would be simply about wall squat. With this one, I got really corny with it because I was starting to get bored with all the movements. So what I did is I pretended I failed. And then right after the client fails on their reps, they're going to do an isometric hold. Okay? So I'm sitting here, and I just failed, gave him the weight, and now I got to hold it for time until I fail. So that's a good variety and intensity factor you guys can easily add in to make it more fun. Another one would be adding a med ball squeeze while I do it. So this video got really weird, but the med ball's between the legs there, and I'm squeezing the entire time. So that's another one you guys can do. Any options for that one you guys want to add in? That's quick, easy variety.
I don't know if it's necessarily stability ball, but Alex Erdman will put like a 10-pound plate on the landmine and have people put their backs against it and do a squat like that. It's pretty similar, but you can weight it.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a cool one, actually. I like that a lot.
It's like a hack, kind of.
What's that?
It's kind of like a hack squat.
Hack squat, yeah. I like that one. Brandon, what do you think? Got one, Brandon, maybe?
What Brandon are you talking to?
You. Yeah, sorry.
Me? I mean, it's not really with exercise ball, but you could just do like the TRX, like kind of like a pistol squat sort of thing.
Okay. Anybody got one with the stability ball that you would, the base program would be stability ball and you'd throw in variety at the session?
I'll have people squat down. I'll like put different size medicine balls on the floor and stuff and roll them in and out so they have to go different depths and stuff like
cool. I like that one. That's a cool one I never thought of. You got some good ones, buddy. Like it. All right. So base program would maybe be like body weight squat. Easy one you guys could easily do is manual resistance. So Kyle tries to mess with me on the last one here. It's kind of funny. But he's holding me down. He tried to mess with me there. That go really hard. But that one is where you can manually gauge the resistance there and make it harder. So exactly what Kyle did. He tried to like burn me out in the last one, so he pushed really hard. Another one would be banded squat. You can literally just put a band around, a little extra resistance there. A little more variety. So any go-tos you guys got? You guys should have something on this. Kyle Glott, what do you got?
You're talking working with the trainer, like
sure. All right. Anything that's quick, easy. The base is the squat, and there's something easy you implement into your programs in the session.
Well, I think even just doing, and this is another one that you don't want to do right out of the gates, but when they're doing the stability ball squat with the wall, you can put your hands, on their legs and give them resistance on the way up or down, depending on what you're doing.
All right, we're gonna do some hip dominant here. So base program, let's say it's kettlebell swing. One way you can do it is a band kettlebell swing. So be careful on your resistance here. You'll see Kyle pulls him back a little bit too much on the first one. So you want enough resistance. We're not gonna pull him back too much, but find that good happy medium there. And they got some extra resistance on the swing, focusing on that hip dominant movement and the glute work. Otherwise, you could do a band pull through. So instead of using, a lot of times I do pull throughs on the cable machine, but on this one you could use a band instead. So Kyle's the anchor instead of being the cable, and then we're using that band to work on that glute and hip movement. Yeah, it's a funny looking one, but it works. It's a really good one for the glutes. So any modifications you guys can think for that one, even if it's like a glute bridge mod. Alan, you got one?
Yeah.
Mod for a glute bridge?
I'll do, for glute bridge, sometimes I'll do like band pull apart. So I'll take one of the smaller bands and wrap it around their knee. So then at the top of that glute bridge, they just spread apart their knees.
Oh, cool. Okay. And then we got trap deads. So a lot of times you guys put in deads in the workout. So base program would be trap dead, but some easily could do in the session to add that variety would be put a band. So we do a banded one here. This video got kind of screwed up too in the cropping, but get the idea. And you would add plates on there too. You could add plates on there. The other one is a strip set. So this is another way of adding variety and intensity to it. So you would do more than 2 reps, but this is just for the example. So you could probably do like 8 reps, strip it, go for another 8, strip it again, and then finish off to failure. So just another way of adding variety. You guys are doing stuff together. So let's get into the application of that. So now you guys got pieces and points there. It's really assisting with time management as well. A lot of times trainers have this idea that they got to reinvent the wheel when it comes to programming. There's nothing magical about changing things all the time, okay? Use those skeletons, get a great system down, and then modify for the client. So just remember that you're not elite athletes. You don't need to create these crazy cycles for these people. Like a lot of the vast majority of the people you're working with is they need some balanced program. They got to start moving their butts, okay? That's the main key to most of the people that you work with. So the best idea is you can give them their base cycle or phase that you want them to work with. It's going to be the main movements that you're working with on them when you work together, but you have the fun variety stuff. Leave that base stuff when they do it on their own. That not only does that help them master the basics that they typically need to master anyway, but it saves you a ton of time on programming because you don't need to do that. And then also you get that like value that we're talking about. Okay, and then every month you can introduce a new phase if you want it, or a new progression. Okay, keep it simple. So as far as like the planning and practice, so this is like a very, starting point program day that you would send to the client. So maybe your first circuit was med ball squat, incline push up, and then a stability ball playing. Circuit 2, you're going to go from a cable row, lateral band walks, and core cable rotations. So if you guys were to do this, I'm just going to call real quick. If you're to do circuit 1, med ball squat, Brandon, what do you think you would do instead of a med ball squat for variety?
Where's Brandon?
The one with you, Alex. Sorry, I called on the other Brandon already. Sorry.
Instead of a met ball squat?
Yeah, some quick variety that you could do. Keep the integrity of the movement there. What would you do with a client?
A TRX squat.
Okay. How would you have a little bit of load? What do you think? All right, Alex, you got one you want to help with the Oregon team there?
You could actually, But if you just add the load, you can put hands on the shoulders and push down on the way down. So the
Beautiful.
eccentric phase is overloaded.
Yep, great answer. Cool. Incline push-up. How could you add some variety to that? Bridget, what do you think? Bridget Shore.
Maybe add some resistance to their back.
So you're pushing
just
on their
by
back?
pushing down.
Okay,
Mhm.
great. And then let's look at stability ball plank. Let me see. James Lewis, haven't called on you yet, buddy. What do you think?
Stability ball plank, you can just stand in front of them and kick each side or tap it with your hands to create instability.
Sure.
The floor has to contract a little bit more.
Yeah, as long as you don't go for a field goal, right?
No, we gotta test these guys good. You gotta kick it hard. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, that's great. All right, so let's look at cable roll. Ethan, what'd you do, bud? In session, what would you do with someone?
For a cable roll?
Yeah.
You could, do the same thing, like do the resistant band, kind of throw that in
Yeah,
there.
that's kind of your go-to. Okay, cool. Zach, what do you think for lateral band walk? How do you think you could add some variety to that?
I just have them do like the monster walk or W walk, kind of just rather just going straight lateral, just add like a different angle that they're walking at.
Okay, how could you modify the lateral walk? What do you think?
Get a stronger band.
Oh yeah, yep. You could use stronger band. Yep. Instead of using like the ankles, you could use an actual band around the hips or something, right? Is that what you meant? And then, sure, cable core rotation. How could you easily implement some variety to that? Kaylee, didn't call on you yet. What do you think? Oh, you're in here. When did you sneak in? What do you think, Kaylee? Yeah, what would you use instead of a cable? What do you think? Okay, so manual. So she said manual resistance with her hands. Yep. So that's some easy things you guys can practice. Like look at your programming you're sending to your clients, and then easily find the implementation of what you could do that session. Just add that variety and fun to it. All right, let's take a quick quiz here, guys, before we wrap up and take attendance. What's the 15x5 rule?
Smiling
Smile or howdy and hi.
or say hello.
Yep. 15 feet out. Yeah, don't give him the Chad smile. I'm working on that one. Yep. So 15 feet out, smile, head nod. 5 feet out, verbal hello and howdy. What does a client's attendance to team training fall on? Like who's the person that we want to talk to about their attendance to that? Who do you think's responsible for that?
Trainer.
Yeah, it's gonna fall back on you guys. Obviously, there's other factors that would affect that, right? Like kind of what we talked about. But what we want to talk about here is just don't mention it anymore. Prescribe it for them, and that would increase their retention to that. What are easy ways you can add variety to the session? Just name like one or two.
Change the type of load.
Sure. Load. What else?
Manual resistance.
Manual resistance. Angle. Yep. Great guys. Yep. Get the idea. And then last one. How should we add variety for our clients when planning their programming or their weeks? What's the main concept we talked about today? You guys pick up on that?
You start with the base movement and then change it.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Give them the base stuff to work on their own. And when it's with you guys, do the fun stuff. Awesome. All right. Let me stop recording here, and then we are going to take some attendance.